Today on the show, I'm going to be sharing the 10 tools I think every guitar player should have. And I want to say thank you to my patrons who suggested this video, because without them, I wouldn't have done this video. So thank you guys again for that. So let's get started with the tools I think you should have. First, I want to point out that most guitar players are going to want to do basic maintenance and or setups on their guitars. So let's talk about the tools you're going to need. Of course, you're going to need a tuner. Now, I would like to point out that the Strobe tuner by Peterson is one of my favorite tuners, super accurate, and I don't think you can do much better than this. However, most players are not going to need such an expensive tuner, so they might want to go with a basic clip-on tuner. For clip-on tuners, I highly recommend different brands, of course, TC Electronics, Korg, but Snark is one of my favorites, but especially the new Silver Spark, especially the new Silver Snark, because if you remember all the old Snarks, they used to crack around the base right here, and they've added a new ring to make that reinforce those tabs. So this takes a lot more abuse. Plus they added a new plastic that seems a lot stronger, like an ABS plastic. So again, if you're gonna do a clip-on tuner and you haven't had one, I would definitely check that out. Now this is a good time to mention I have links down below to everything I'm talking about. Some of those links are affiliate links, which means if you click them, you're helping support the channel. However, some of the links are not affiliate links because I just wanted you to have access to those products even though I don't have an affiliate with them. The next thing you're gonna need tools to adjust the guitar, meaning the truss rod and the bridge, and maybe make adjustments to the output jack, loose screws, and tuning keys. So a lot of people will recommend these multi-tools. I'm going to show you a few right here. Hold on a second. And I have just a few right here. There's ones from Ibanez. You can see this one. This one's a really nice one. And of course, Gibson has theirs with their special socket for their truss rod. And of course, Dario has one, and Dunlop has one. And again, they have a socket for PRS and Gibson. However, the ones I like are actually kits like these. Now, first I'm going to show you the Music Nomad one. The Music Nomad one is my favorite. If you don't have any tools, or if you don't have room for tools, this is the kit to get. Not only does it have all the Allen wrench adjustments you're going to need, and of course flathead and Phillips head screwdrivers, it's also going to have this ESP tool. Now, if you're not familiar with the ESP tool, let me show you. This is this tool right here. They made a copy of it. Theirs is a little thinner, and I'd like to point out that I bent mine already. So be a little cautious with it. But it's a very good tool, even though I don't think it's as good as the ESP one. It's included in the kit, and it works fine. This is great for getting underneath and tightening knobs. You can use it to tighten output jacks. You can use it to tighten the nuts on the tuning keys as well. It gets into all kinds of places. It's really, really, really good. It even can adjust, if you have to, the slots on adjustable hardtail bridges. The other thing that's great about this kit is the screwdriver handle has sockets on the end of it. And these sockets are different sizes, not only metric, but standard. So you have the 1/2 inch, which is what you'll need for the output jack. You have a 10 millimeter, which is what's gonna fit most of your tuning keys. And of course, other different sizes that you may need as well. This is a great tool. So like I said, this is an all-in-one tool that I think does a really good job. Now, although I highly recommend this one, it's not my favorite. I think this is great for if you don't have any tools, you should go with that. The one I use every day though is the Stu Mac one. The Stu Mac one does not have any sockets. It's not very diverse. It's not trying to be a everything in one kit thing. It's actually specialized. This has every kind of Allen wrench you can think of. Of course, every little kind of adjuster you can think of, things to do pilot holes for screws. It's a really good kit. It's really small, and it looks very average, but trust me, it is very, very, very good. It's built very well. I have been abusing these kits. I have 2 of them for a couple years now, and I literally use them every day, and I've been waiting for them to break. They haven't given out on me yet. So now, of course, if you're more on a budget or more conscientious, you can find all kinds of toolkits on Amazon or at your local tool supply stores. Of course, you can just get a set of metric and standard Allen wrenches and a set of screwdrivers. You'll be fine, and some socket wrenches. But either way, you're gonna need that stuff. So I just wanted to show you some of the multi-tools as well. Something I remind everybody all the time is that every time you're playing, the strings are vibrating, which means your guitar is vibrating. If your guitar is vibrating, things are probably coming loose. So be prepared that you always have to tighten your tuning keys, always tighten things on the bridge, always your output jack, all that stuff, you'll be fine. Next, you're gonna need something to check the frets. So this is what's called a fret rocker. Now there's different ones. This one was made by a viewer, and it's made out of aluminium or aluminum, depending on how you want to say it. Stu Mac makes some. Keep in mind that all the tools that I'm mentioning from Stu Mac or Luthier stores, Luthier Mercantiles in the US, there is Crimson Guitars. If you're overseas, Crimson Guitars makes fantastic tools, as good, if not better than StewMac in every way. And you can also, I've done videos where I show you how to use a credit card. You can use a credit card to do this. You can use anything. It's just a piece of flat metal with different lengths. So obviously if you have over here, you start here, and as you get forward, it gets a little narrower, and then you go to the narrow piece, and then as you get closer, you got narrow here. So basically, if you put it on 3 frets, what's gonna happen is, if it doesn't move at all, doesn't rock, the frets are all level. Now, if it does rock, because one of the center fret is higher, you know that that fret is high. This is a great way to detect those problems. So again, like I said, you can make this product, you can buy this product on Amazon, you can buy some nicer ones, it's up to you. I like to buy quality tools. I find I never regret buying a quality tool, and they last you a long time. The next thing you're probably gonna want is some kind of string winder. Now, what I like about the D'Addario string winders, this is my original one that I've had for about 15 years, maybe longer. This is the newer one, is that this winder isn't just a winder, it actually has the bridge pin puller for your acoustic, and of course, something to cut the string ends on. This is important because some of the cheap wire cutters that you buy for a couple bucks or come in those really cheap kits on Amazon, sure, they cut the strings a few times, but then they start getting dense and they can't cut anymore and you just throw them away. This cutter, well, let me show you. These ones I've been using, like I said, every day for 15 years. They're still just as strong and as powerful as the day I started using them. The next thing you're gonna need is something to measure. Measuring is very important when you're doing a setup. There are a couple things. First, there is what's called a string action guide. This is from, again, StewMac, but they also have them at Crimson Guitars. D'Addario sells them, Dunlop sells them. You can buy ones from Homestead on Amazon that are very inexpensive. Again, this is just stuff I've had for many years. A lot of these tools I've had for many years. It's just back then there was only one place to get them, and it usually was StewMac, or it's just because they were quality and I like the way they went with, so that's why a lot of them are StewMac tools. I use metric. You can get metric or standard. The only thing I say is I'd only get one and stick with one. It's up to you. I like metric because I think it's easy to communicate with customers. When I say, hey, it went from 1 millimeter to 0.5 millimeter, I think even if they don't measure or work on things, people understand half. It's half as high as it was before. So something like this is great, and it's great for looking on the side of the string. However, you can also get something like a gap gauge, and gap gauges work great for getting underneath and measuring strings underneath that way, especially if you have trouble seeing and you need to see in the side of this. The gap gauges work great. And you can buy these very inexpensively anywhere. Also, you can use guitar picks. Keep in mind that guitar picks are also in measurements, and you can use them like a gap gauge if you don't have a gap gauge. But either way, I would highly recommend you have something to measure. It's very, very important. The next one is a notch straight edge. What it's designed to do is this one has 2 sides. It has a 25.5 inch scale, and then on top it has a 24.5 inch scale. It's designed to sit across your fretboard, and it has notches so it can go on obviously over your frets. And this lets you know when your neck is straight, so when you're making adjustments. Now, something to note, this one is also by StewMac, but they do make them by Homestead. They do make them from Crimson Guitars. But I'd like to point out that this one I got about 2 years ago. Up until then, I was never really using one of these. I had one that I made out of wood, and before wood, I had one I made out of a foam poster board that I cut out with an X-Acto knife. So I had made one, and I'd been using it for so long that I had no reason to get one. But you know, I finally did the splurge and bought one, even though for years I was using one of the homemade ones fine. Again, like I said, you can make one of these. You can buy one of these. Just a notch straight edge is pretty easy. You can take a ruler, a wooden ruler that you get at the hardware store, and literally cut notches out of where your frets go. Anything will work. It's up to you, again. But like I said, it's up to you, but I never regret buying quality tools. That's all for a basic setup. That's all you need. Next, what I would recommend are the 3 tools that I think you need for doing fret work, okay? So there are a lot of tools for do fret work, but these 3 tools, I can tell you right now, if you give me these 3 tools, I can go to anywhere, anyone's house, anywhere, and I can literally do an entire fret job with these 3 tools. This first tool is really important. This is one of my oldest tools. I've had it forever. This is, of course, is a StewMac tool. Again, you can find these at StewMac and Crimson Guitars. I don't recommend buying cheap versions of these. You can see behind me I have another one because I bought some because I thought this was going to wear out one day. 16 years, 17 years, and it still hasn't worn out on me. I use it every day. I have videos, I'll put links down below where you can use it to hit the sides of the frets. If you have fret sprout where your neck shrinks and your frets are sticking out, you You can use it to run the side of that. You can use this to level all your frets on your guitar if you don't have a sanding beam. It's sometimes a lot cheaper if you're going to do one every once in a while and you don't have the rolls, because you have to buy rolls of sandpaper and the beam if you're going to do it that way. So this works great. You can literally level all of the frets with this tool. Then once you've leveled everything with this tool, you can use this tool to crown them. Now this is a tool, again, it's very cool. I'll put links in the description. This is my favorite one to recommend, although I'm using nicer diamond ones now that I like because I'm doing so much stainless steel work these days. These are great because they have 3 attachments, which has your vintage, medium, and jumbo frets. So you have every kind of fret. You just turn that little screw right there, it comes out. You put in the other one. It's fast, it's easy. I've been very unkind to this tool for the last decade or two, and it's held up fine. This is a great tool. So again, after you level those frets, you can go ahead and crown them with this tool. And then the last one I recommend, which I recommend all the time, and this is definitely a great tool. This is the fret and dress file. This has a rounded side. And what you can do is you can round over your frets, or you can use it to take care of fret sprout from the side. And again, I have tons of videos. I'll put links down below in the description where I've used this file. And this file is a lot less expensive than those, but keep in mind that one of these files could last you years. As much work as I do, even with stainless steel frets, I still only go through about 2 or 3 of these a year. So they do really well. Very good tools. So those 3 files, that's what I recommend. Okay, what else? Anything else? Yeah, I'm gonna throw in some bonuses. Here's some bonuses. Definitely think you should get a soldering iron. Now, some people are gonna say, and they're fine, a multimeter as well, and a multimeter is a great tool as well. You can use it to diagnose all kinds of things, check pickups, check components. Soldering irons are going to be great to fix the output jacks, install pickups, and you definitely should get one. I use Weller soldering stations. However, keep in mind, you can buy any soldering iron you want, even the cheap ones. It is a nice tool to have. It's something I think everybody should learn to use. Definitely can use it to fix things on the guitar, but again, my video is more kind of centered around maintenance of the guitar. These are all the tools that you're going to do maintenance. So again, I hope this video was helpful, and as always, I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank the patrons for suggesting this video, and as always, till the next time, know your gear.